Less than a week before Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene resigns from office, she's making new allegations in her fallout with President Trump over the Epstein files. In a New York Times interview, Greene says Trump privately told her, quote, "My friends will get hurt if alleged abusers connected to Epstein were exposed." In a statement, the White House says, quote, "Congresswoman Greene is quitting on her constituents in the middle of her term and abandoning the consequential fight we're in. We don't have time for her petty bitterness."
Okay, so it's been a while since I've covered some American politics, so I thought it was about time, and this popped up on my feed, so let's go.
So for more on all this, I want to bring in our Capitol Hill correspondent, Jay O'Brien. And Jay, this New York Times piece, it's pretty meaty, 18 pages here. But what are we learning more on this alleged conversation between the president and the Congresswoman?
So this is a phone call, Alex, that Marjorie Taylor Greene has talked about before. It comes when Marjorie Taylor Greene was one of that handful of House Republicans who were defying President Trump and signing on to legislation to force the release of the so-called Jeffrey Epstein files the Department of Justice has. This is legislation that ultimately passed, remember, the House and the Senate. And after President Trump first opposed it, he ultimately signed it into law. But in the initial stages of that effort, when Marjorie Taylor Greene was one of just those handful of Republicans stepping to the president on this issue, that's when this phone call, Greene says, took place. And as you say, she goes into more detail in this interview in the Times about it, and she says that in her recollection, President Trump said to her that one of the reasons for his opposition to the release of these Epstein files was that his quote-unquote friends could get hurt. Now, that is only Greene's recollection. We haven't heard from the president one way or the other on this, and it's been clear that Greene and the president have had a very serious falling out because of her support of the release of these Epstein files.
Oh, to put it mildly.
And so putting aside the details of this call for a second, it is just another fact that Marjorie Taylor Greene and Donald Trump have had this very public breakup over this issue that at one point was critical to President Trump's MAGA base, was a campaign promise of President Trump's to put out whatever they could about the Jeffrey Epstein case, Alex.
Yeah, well, and she, by her recollection, talks about him yelling at her via speakerphone over this. But I'm curious, I mean, what are you hearing on Capitol Hill about this interview?
It's not necessarily the Epstein stuff that is really taking center stage with Republicans I talked to, not necessarily about this piece, but about the broader Trump-Greene breakup. Really what the Republicans I've talked to take issue with is Marjorie Taylor Greene's concerns that President Trump has abandoned what she says is his MAGA base. That's been something she's been saying for the last few weeks now. It's been her view that President Trump abandoned the promises he made when he ran for re-election in 2024, has left, she says, that base of voters behind, that talked about affordability, that talked about transparency when it comes to the Epstein files, and a number of other promises that President Trump made. And it's her view that President Trump has distanced himself from those voters in the pursuit of other things. Now, the Republicans I talked to on Capitol Hill largely take issue with Greene's characterization there, but they are concerned that Marjorie Taylor Greene could potentially give air cover to some other disaffected Republicans. And you might see, and it's Greene's hope that you do see, she has said this publicly, this kind of groundswell of other Republicans coming out and publicly criticizing the president, publicly.
This is where I was talking about sort of the predictions and the forecast for 2026 and how fractured the Republican/conservative political movement is in the United States. Somebody as prominent as Marjorie Taylor Greene being so vocal and critical of the administration and of Trump is quite the threat, quite the risk to his influence. So it's one to watch.
Taking issue with the way that he has so far conducted his second term.
Well, and listen, Greene certainly has a platform, at least for the next several days. But as we mentioned, she's not seeking re-election. She only has a few days left in Congress. So do we have any ideas to what's next for her?
She's not just not seeking re-election, she's leaving early, right? She's going to end her term on January 5th, this coming Monday. She's going to resign early. There's going to be a special election to fill that seat. So she only has a few more days left as a member of the House.
You do wonder when somebody's trying to jump so quickly, uh, almost urgently, um, what will they do next? And then how much freedom they'll have to say what they want, do what they want next. Um, I think it's going to be very messy.
House of Representatives. And to your point, one of the questions hanging over Marjorie Taylor Greene is what is next for her. She has said she's walking away from politics, that she's no longer going to be in the political fray. But there is this active question right now amongst Republicans, particularly in the president's MAGA coalition, of how much of a voice of opposition does Marjorie Taylor Greene become having left Congress. She won't have the platform of a sitting member of Congress, but she's obviously a household name. She was perhaps the closest to Donald Trump amongst
And everyone has a microphone.
Republicans for such a long time. She was synonymous with the MAGA movement on Capitol Hill. So she still has a voice. And the question is, does she deploy that voice even more critically against President Trump after she has left Congress? That is a concern of some Republican leaders I've talked to.
Yeah, it'll certainly be something to watch. Jay O'Brien, thank you as always.
It was completely unforeseen, a shocker. Marjorie Taylor Greene resigning. The warrior congresswoman so dogged and fierce, leaving the field of battle, her alliance with President Trump shattered. Her video resignation statement last month that she'll be leaving Congress a year before her term expires came after President Trump said he would throw his support to someone else for her seat. She became famous, some would say infamous, with her incendiary insults and belief in conspiracy theories, such as 9/11 was an inside job, and that the shooting at the Parkland School in Florida was staged. At one time, the president had no more ardent defender. But things soured over Jeffrey Epstein, the convicted sex offender accused of trafficking girls as young as 14. Does Greene's defection signal a split in MAGA? Is she leaving politics for good? And exactly why is she leaving?
It wasn't a decision that I came to lightly, but it was a very important decision for myself and also for my family.
It was sudden.
It was sudden, but a lot of things changed. I stood for women who were raped when they were 14 years old, and the president that I fought for 5 years called me a traitor for that. And so that changed the landscape of things.
So I'm going to ask you straight out. Did you surrender? Did Donald Trump run you out of town?
No, not at all. Actually, Leslie, it's more like this, is I said in my statement, I will be no one's battered wife, and I meant it. And I won't allow the system to abuse me anymore.
You really feel abused. You know, he did come after you pretty hard. He called you a lunatic, I'm quoting. He said all she does is complain, complain, complain in caps, and then he called you a traitor. So he hit you, whacked you.
Yes, he did this in the same time span where President Trump brought in the al-Qaeda leader that was wanted by the U.S. government, who is now the president of Syria. Then within a week, he brought in the Crown Prince, MBS, who murdered an American journalist. And then he brought in the newly elected Democrat Socialist mayor of New York. That was the time span that he called me a traitor.
You decided not to stay and fight. You decided to give in.
After President Trump called me a traitor, I got a pipe bomb threat on my house, and then I got several direct death threats on my son.
On your son?
On my son.
You say the president put your life in danger. You blame him. You say he fueled a hotbed of threats against me, and that you blame him for the threats against your son.
The subject line for the direct death threats on my son was his words, Marjorie Taylor Greene. Those are death threats directly fueled by President Trump. I told him, I told J.D. Vance, I told them all, sent those directly to them.
And response?
J.D. Vance replied back to me, we'll look into it.
I mean, you're not on The Apprentice. This isn't entertainment. These sort of sound bites that you're providing, I'm talking about Trump here, this is not fun. This is not entertainment. This is pretty serious.
Response back from President Trump that I will keep private, but it wasn't very nice.
Give us a hint of what the president said.
It was extremely unkind.
Her life is in danger? Who's that?
Marjorie Taylor Greene, she says.
Marjorie Taylor Greene. I don't think her life is in danger. Frankly, I don't think anybody cares about her.
4 more years.
This new, intense vitriol between them is jarring, considering she's been one of the president's most passionate and loyal foot soldiers, often in a red MAGA hat. She voted with him 98% of the time.
We're going to re-elect our favorite president, the greatest president in United States history, Donald J. Trump. Right, Georgia?
One of the president's biggest beefs with Greene was about her harping on Jeffrey Epstein.
We did talk about the Epstein files, and he was extremely angry at me that I had signed the discharge petition to release the files. I fully believe that those women deserve everything they're asking. They're asking for all of it to come out. They deserve it. And he was furious with me.
What did he say?
He said that it was going to hurt people. I had asked him, these women are the ones that were hurt. They were raped at 14, they were raped at 16. I watched them stand in front of the press trembling, their bodies shaking as they were telling their stories, many of them for the first time. And I had told him, I said, you know, you have all kinds of people come in the White House. Have these women come in the White House. These women deserve to be heard.
He said to you, people will get hurt.
People will get hurt. I don't know what that means. I don't know who they are.
There were other clashes with the president. She started publicly criticizing him in May on one issue after the next, accusing him of betraying his MAGA America First promises. You went after his, I think you said, trying to entangle us in foreign wars. You said Air Force One should be parked, no more foreign trips.
For an America First president, the #1 focus should have been domestic policy, and it wasn't. And so, of course, I was critical, because those were my campaign promises. Once we fix everything here, then fine, we'll talk to the rest of the world.
She said in her resignation video that the president has gone establishment, forsaking the base and her.
If I am cast aside by the president and the MAGA political machine and replaced by neocons, big pharma, big tech, military-industrial war complex, foreign leaders, and the elite donor class.
Are you saying that the president now is siding with those establishment powerful people and against MAGA?
He passed a crypto bill that helped out all the crypto donors. He has served Israel's interest, even attacking Iran. He has served Big Pharma. He didn't take away the COVID vaccines that we want to see taken away. So those are the areas that are still getting everything they want, while the people, we're still out here saying we want to see action on areas for the American people, not for the major industries and the big donors.
Greene has built her reputation on feisty combat and inflammatory insults, like calling President Joe Biden a liar during the 2023 State of the Union. It's been 5 years of almost constant drama.
I think your fake eyelashes are messing up. No, ain't nothing. Hold on.
With her adding fuel to the nation's loss of civility. Then, 3 weeks ago, she went on CNN with a surprise, a mea culpa.
And I would like to say humbly, I'm sorry for taking part in the toxic politics.
But it became clear to us that she hasn't entirely lost her appetite for combat.
It's the most
Not the fake eyelash comment.
toxic political culture, and it's not helping the American
But you
people.
contributed to that. You were out there pounding, insulting people.
Leslie, you've contributed to it as well with your
Me?
own program. Yes, you're accusatory, just like you did just then.
I know you're accusing me, but I'm smiling.
You're accusing me.
I am accusing
But we
you.
don't have to accuse one another.
I want you to respond to what you have done in terms of insulting people, yelling at people, and then saying,
I'd like for you to respond for that.
I don't-
No, you can respond
I
to that.
don't insult people.
You do, in the way you question, and you're
Yes, but it's not your interview.
accusing me right now.
one thing she did want to talk about, Congress's failure to pass spending bills, meaning that she has found it hard to get funds for projects in her district.
It's an utter failure, not just to the people in my district, but the
It's such a futile argument talking about, oh, how toxic politics has become. It's just, there's no point. You're not going to clean it up just by cleaning up the way that you talk when you're in the chamber. You know, when your commander-in-chief is just shock jocking his way through every presidential statement.
every district across the country.
We met Greene, 51, in her district in Georgia. Before Congress, she ran her family's construction company, then opened up her own CrossFit gym.
Affordability is a real issue.
President says it's not. Says it's a hoax, affordability.
It's one of the top issues, not only in my district, it's across the country.
The affordability of health insurance caused Greene to side with the Democrats during the government shutdown to support extending health care subsidies. Did you ever imagine that you would be standing with the Democrats on the Epstein files and on health care subsidies?
No, I never imagined that.
She's not afraid to be an outlier. She's the only Republican member of Congress to call the war in Gaza a genocide. And why did you vote against the Anti-Semitism Awareness Act?
Since I've been a member of Congress, we've had several resolutions that constantly denounce anti-Semitism. I've already voted denouncing anti-Semitism many times before. It becomes an exercise that they force on Congress, and I simply got tired of it.
Is there no value in having the United States Congress reaffirm the fact that they denounce anti-Semitism in the face of a growing issue, a growing problem?
We don't have to get on our knees and say it over and over again. When
Get
we
on our
already,
knees?
Yes, we do not have to get on our knees.
Well, most members of Congress disagree with you.
Well, most members of Congress take donations from AIPAC, and I don't.
AIPAC is an American pro-Israel lobbying group. Greene's perspective indicates a growing rift within MAGA over support for Israel. Are you MAGA?
I am America First.
And that's not the same as MAGA.
MAGA is President Trump's phrase. That's his political policies. I call myself America First.
But you're not saying you're MAGA.
I'm America First. Yeah.
God bless you, President Trump.
Almost overnight, she's gone from a close Trump friend to foe, one of the few Republicans willing to take him on. I'm going to ask you about this almost solid support he has among Republicans in Congress. Is there in that support fear? Does the support come about because they're afraid that they'll get death threats?
I think they're terrified to step out of line and get a nasty Truth Social post on them. Yes.
And they're watching what happened to you.
Yes.
Behind the scenes, do they talk differently?
Yes.
How?
Oh, it would shock people.
Well, let's shock people.
Okay. I watched many of my colleagues go from making fun of him, making fun of how he talks, making fun of me constantly for supporting him, to when he won the primary in 2024, they all started, excuse my language, Leslie, kissing his ass and decided to put on a MAGA hat for the first time.
And let's break it down real simple.
This past week, when we saw Greene at a public hearing in her district without a MAGA hat, it didn't appear that her break from President Trump and MAGA has cost her popularity. People want to know, is this a true conversion, a true change of heart, or is it kind of a shrewd political calculation? A lot of people think you're doing it.
It's always going to be. It's never, purely because of principles and, it's a noble decision, Of course, there's going to be some sort of strategic agenda.
And that you, in a year or so, are going to run for some other office.
I have zero plans, zero desire to run for president. I would hate the Senate. I'm not running for governor. But Leslie, it doesn't matter how many times I say it. I'll have face-to-face conversations with people, and I'll flat out tell them to their face, and they won't believe me. And they're like, oh, yeah, sure. And wink at me, and I'm like, okay. It's just like I don't know how to make it more clear.
You mean you just jumped off the cliff, and you don't know where you're going to swim to?
Surprise, surprise, I'm not your politician with a whole itinerary of plans or political ambitions.
I might believe her, but I'm not so familiar with her. But here, Speaker, this is what she said. Speaker Mike Johnson is not our speaker and is controlled by the White House. This is a right-leaning ground news summary. Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene stated that House Speaker Mike Johnson is under direct orders from the White House and is not truly leading House Republicans, indicating dissatisfaction among some Republicans with his leadership. Lawmakers like Representative Kevin Kiley expressed frustration over House leadership and how issues are being managed, pointing out significant concerns among the conference. Democrats issued a report accusing Speaker Johnson of turning the House into a rubber stamp for President Trump by using more closed rules, limiting debate and discussion. The report from Democrats claims that Speaker Johnson has issued 160 8 closed rules, surpassing the previous record, thus minimizing legislative independence. So there's your short video reviewing Marjorie Taylor Greene, her new allegations in her fallout with Trump. What say you? What are you doing for New Year's? As I said in my previous live stream, is I'm really not fussed about New Year's Eve, New Year's, all of this frivolity. Just wait for spring, hunker down, get your work done, lock in. If you want to get more of my content on strategic thinking, on locking in and increasing your focus and making better decisions, then join Serena's Playbook. Come and find content there. There'll be content out every day. Actually, there's one piece out today. There'll be another one out tomorrow. And I'm here on this channel as well, giving you media, politics, and AI commentary. There'll be more to come. If you haven't already subbed, please do, and I'll catch you in the next one.